Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Welcome to this session. In this session, we learn about creating a Django project, running Django development server. How can we run the Django development server? Django development server, how can we run it on a different port number? Let's say you want to change a port number. How can we do that? Default applications in a project. Every Django project will have some set of default applications. We will look at those set of default applications. Not only that, we will learn how can we create our own web application. We'll learn how can we create our own web application. Understand the folder structure of an application. When you create an application, when we create an application, there'll be some default files which will be created and a particular folder gets created. We will observe the default files and folders which are created as part of creating an application. So we'll also learn how can we add applications in setting.py file. How can we create a view in views.py file? How can we define a URL in the urls.py file? How can we start the server and how can we send the request? We are getting into the practicals of Django. We are learning how can we create a project. We are observing the set of files which will be created as part of creating a project as well as application. We learn how can we create a view, what is urls.py. Slowly we are getting into the practicals of Django framework. Okay, so let's get started. In our previous session, we had only just one session. Today's Django second session. In our previous session, we have learned about the advantages of Django framework. We have understood the terminology of project and application. We have created a Django project. Anyways, we'll be repeating again. I'll also show you how can we run the Django server. So today's session is getting into the practicals of Django framework. Let's get started. Okay, perfect. I want to create a Django project. Step one. The first step, what I want to do is to create a Django project. How can we create a Django project? By using the command Django admin, start project, follow the project name. I want to create a project with the name first project. Project name can be anything. Participants. My dear participants, project name can be anything. I want to create a Django project with the name first project. How can we create a Django project? From the command prompt, this is the command to create a Django project. Start project, follow the project name. This is how the Django project will be created. This is how the Django project will be created. I open the command prompt. Let me go to D drive. I have created a Django project. I already have created a first project. That's okay. I remove this particular folder. Let me start from the scratch. I want to create a project. The first step, what I want to do is to create a project. How can we create a project? By using the command start project, follow the project. Then this is how you can create a Django project. I open the command prompt. Open the command prompt. Point out to the location where you're planning to create a project. I don't want to create a project in C drive. I want to create a project in D drive. Okay. I want to create a project in D drive. Where do you want to create a project? In D drive, I have created an exclusive folder called Django project. So let me go to Django projects. Now here I want to create in the Django project. Right now, please observe here in C drive Django projects. Right now the folder is empty. As you can see here, my dear participants, the folder is empty. That's good. And I want to create my first project. What is the name of the project? First project is the name of the project which I want to create. This command will help you to create a first project. My dear participants, after this today's session, please go ahead and create the first project. After creating the first project, what we'll do is create an application inside the project. Please do hands-on. Very, very important. So let me create my first project. Perfect. Project created. What is the impact of it? What is the impact of it? There will be some set of files which will be created. Let's observe first. What are the importance of those files? What is the use of each and every file? We'll discuss that later. But first observation. Whenever you create a project, participants, whenever we create a project, there will be some set of files which will be created. If you want to see the set of files, tree followed with /f to see the file structure. The project will be created. The name of the project is first project. Look at this. Under Django projects, the name of the folder gets created as first project. Inside the first project, you will find a file called as manage.py. Have you observed? This is a manage.py. Inside the first project, again, there's the same folder gets created one more time, first project. Now, inside the first project, you have asgi.py, settings.py, urls.py, what wsgi.py, and underscore init underscore dot py. My dear participants, first point what you have observed is that we have created a first project. You have created a first project. What is the name of the project? The name of the project is first project. Project name can be the project name can be your name. The project will be created. Once the project is created, some default set of files got created. That is the first important observation. We are done with creating a project. We are done with creating a project. Perfect. That's all. I want to run the project. I want to run the particular project. So go to that location from the command prompt. What's the name of the project which you have created? First project. So in the Django projects, point out to the first project. Yes. And then what is the command to run the development server? Project created. Next, you have to run the development server. That is called Django development server. We have to run the development server. Once you run the project with development server, you can experience the project over the web. You can experience the project over the web. So how to run the development server? We are running Django development server. Look at the next part. We have created our first project. Next thing what we are running is we are running a Django development server. The command is run server manage.py manage.py. So using this particular manage.py file, we'll be running the server. When you run the server, a URL will be generated. Please observe. Please observe 172.127.0.0.1:8000 a URL will be generated. Using this URL, you can access the development server. I want to copy this particular URL, participants, and I want to access our development server. Are you able to see an empty project? This is the Django project which we have successfully started. This is an empty Django project which we have successfully started. Perfect. Clear? Clear about this? Perfect. So we have created a project. And what is the important observation? Always the project runs on the port number. Django development server runs on the port number 8000. Always Django development server runs on the port number 8000. Very good. Can we change the default port number 8000? Can we change it to some other port number? Yes. So when you run the particular development server, you have to mention on which port you want to run the server. For example, I don't want to run it on 8000. I want to run it on 7777 or any other number, whichever you want. Or any other number, whichever you want. You can do that by same command. Let's stop the server, Control C to stop the server. Right now, development server, Django development server is running, Control C. Now the server has been stopped. I got my prompt back. I want to run the server again, but not on the port number 8000. But not on the port number 8000. I want to run it on 7777. Yes, you can do that. No doubt you can do that. Manage.py runs our server 7777. Perfect. The project is running on 7777. Perfect. The port number is running on 7777. Perfect. Now, can we access the application? Yes, by taking the URL. Perfect. Now the port number is running on 7777. The first important observation, what you have done, the first important observation, what you have done is the Django project runs on port number 8000. I have changed the port number. Instead of running on 8000, I have running it on 7777. Perfect. Clear? Clear about this? Perfect. Okay. Now, next, very important point. Any questions as of now? Any questions as of now? What did we done? We have created an empty project. Whenever you create a project and whenever you run the development server, a URL will be generated. A URL will be generated. Perfect. And we have created a project. We have learned how can we create a Django project, and we have learned how can we run the development server. That's all. Next, under the project, under the project, under the project, what do we have? I hope you have looked at the previous session image. I hope you looked at the previous session image. What we have done is a project. What did we just created is a project. What's the name of the project? First project. Project can name can anything. Inside the project, what do we have? Participants. Inside the project, what do we have? Inside the project, we will have applications, loan applications, customer care applications, credit card applications. Inside the project, what we have is applications. We have created a project, that's all. Did you create application inside the project? Did we create application inside the project? No, we have not created any application. We have just created a simple project. The name of the project is first project, and we have executed the development server. That's okay. Perfect. As we know, participants, as we know that the project contains applications, by default, there will be six applications installed in every project. Every project, by default, every Django project will have how many default applications? 6 default applications. Sunil, where can we see the information of the 6 default applications present in our project? In our project also, there's a project which we have created, isn't it? What is the project which we have created in the Django project? The name of the project is first project. Inside the first project also, there are how many applications? 6 applications. Every default project will have 6 applications. Every default project will have 6 applications. Where can we see the information of the applications? All these 6 default applications in the project. The 6 default applications present in every project will be the names of the applications will be available in the settings.py file. There is a file called a settings.py file. So where is that settings.py file? Under the first project, can you see there's a file called as settings.py file? In this settings.py file, there are some set of 6 default applications. So the applications information will be available in the settings.py file. If you open the settings.py file, let me open this particular settings.py file using Atom Editor. As you know, we'll be using Atom Editor. As you know, we'll be using Atom Editor. These are the set of applications. Can you see under installed app? These are 6 default applications: admin application, auth application, content types application, session application, messages application, static files application. Very important, frequently asked question in the interview. What are the default applications present in every Django project? And where can we get the information? The information of the default applications will be available in settings.py file, admin, auth, content type, session, messages, and static files. But if we, so there are total how many 6 applications? If you're creating a 7th application, let's say if you're creating our own application, then that information also we have to mention this in the settings.py. So if we create application inside the project, in case if you're planning to create, then that application we have to mention it in the install apps. We have to mention it in the install app. Clear about this? Run the applications, we need an environment. To run the applications, we need an environment. Web server is responsible. You have created a project, that's all. Participants. What did we do now? We have created a first project. Did we create any applications inside the project? No. You can anyways, we'll see now, because in our today's session, there is a concept of creating first application. So we will do that. And to run the application, we are responsible for providing environment to run the application. So it is who's responsible? The web server is responsible for providing environment to run the web applications. The web server, whenever end user wants to access an application, you want an access an application like icicibank.com, I want an application like bookmyshow.com. Whenever we want to access the application, web server will receive the request. Who will receive the request? There will be web server. I hope most of you know it. Web server will receive the request. And once the request is received, web server will always immediately check for the urls.py. It will immediately check for the urls.py file. And according to the mention, assuming the end user is sending this particular request, you can say this is the default URL followed with a request saying that greetings. So sends the request by using URL. The web server will check the urls.py. So according to the URL, web server will check for the urls.py. There's a file called as urls.py. Please observe here. There is settings.py file. There is something called urls.py. Whenever the end user sends a request, the web server will check for the urls.py file and identifies the corresponding view and respond to the end user. Don't worry. If you are not comfortable in the theory, don't worry. All this can be practically discussed. All this can be practically discussed. The web server is responsible for receiving the request. It is a web server who is responsible for receiving the request and forwarding the request to the web component based on the request sent by the end user. Let's go ahead and create a first application. What did we do? We have created a first project. Next, what we are doing here inside the project, what we are doing, we are creating a first web application. Okay. Look at this. Please look at this. Once we have created a project, we have created a Django project. Second step, what we are doing is we can create any number of applications. You can create 1 application, you can create 10 applications. There is no restriction. A project can have n number of applications. A project can have a number of applications. So we have created a project. We have not created any application. Now I'm showing you how to create an application inside the project. Now I'm showing you how to create an application inside the project. To create an application, Python, the command, Python manage.py. Start app followed with application name. This is the command to create an application. Python manage.py using manage for creating the project. Do you remember? For creating the project also, the Django admin is the command, but for creating an application, Python manage.py start app followed the application name. We'll be using manage.py. Okay, so remember this is a manage.py file. So using this particular manage.py file, we'll be creating application inside the project. Okay. So let's go to command prompt. Let's go to command prompt. Control C. Let me stop the first project. Inside the project, I'm now pointing inside the project. Inside the project, I want to create an application. Let me do that. Now I am going ahead and creating an application. Python. You can see this is the command. Python manage .py start and follow with. This is how we create an application. When you create an application, one more folder will be created under first project. Observe, under first project, there is one for again the project and manage.py. Now one more folder gets created. Let's observe. Can you see? Observe here. This folder got created just now, first app. That's the name of the application. So we are done with creating an application. The name of the folder will be created in the name with the same as name of the folder name is same as name of the application. What's the name of the application? First app. The folder got created. What's the name of the folder? First app. Inside the folder, the following 6 files will be created. Inside the folder, following 6 files will be created: init.py, admin.py, apps.py, models.py, test.py, and views.py. 6 files. Can you see the 6 files which got created? So remember, first step, what we have done, we have created some project. When you created a project, there are some default files which created. Second step, what we have done inside the project, we have created application. After creating the application also, you can see there are some set of files which has been created. Always, whenever you create an application, there will be some set of files which will be created. There will be set of files which will be created. And there is a folder got created migrations. I have mentioned here. There's a folder got created migrations. Under migrations, there's a file called as init.py file. Yes, this is just for your observation. So we have performed 2 steps. First step, we have created a project. Second step, we have created application inside the project. Perfect. Next. Let's understand all these files. As I have mentioned, there is some set of files which will be created. Let's understand these files. Let's understand these files. What is init.py? What is admin.py? What's the purpose of this? We'll have a theoretical discussion. We will use all these files in the coming examples. Day to day, we will perform all these. We will use all these files in our coming examples. Init.py file. This is a blank Python script. Because of this special name, this Python is treated as a package. Every folder is considered as a package because of this particular file, init.py file. So it's an empty script. Because of this particular script, that particular folder is considered as a package. Admin.py. We can register our models in this particular file. We will register models. We know MBT architecture. Django follows model view template architecture. So we have model component. The models should be registered in the admins.py file. Theory will be difficult to visualize. Theory is difficult to visualize. Theory is always difficult to visualize. Anyways, once we get into practicals, it will be easy for you. Only thing what I expect from you is doing hands-on. We register our models in this particular file. Django will use these models in Django admin interface. Don't worry about this. We will see admin interface, what is model. Once you look at this practically, you will understand admins.py file. Apps.py file. In this file, we will specify application specific configurations. If you want to do any configuration specific to applications, we'll mention that in the apps.py file. Models.py file. In this file, we store application data models. Application data models, test.py. In this file, we specify the functions to test our code. If you want any testing related code, you'd have to mention the test.py file. Views.py file will have some functions which will handle the request. So in the application, users will send the request. That request will be handled in the views.py file. Migrations folder, this directory is used to store database specific information related to models. Out of all these six files, the most frequently used files is views.py file and models.py. Out of all these files, most frequently used files are views.py and models.py. Okay, perfect. Now, activities required for application. What did we do today? Step one, we have created Django. We have to pronounce it as Django. We should not pronounce it as Django. We have to pronounce it as Django. We have created Django project. Step two, what we have done, we have created an application inside the project. What is the name of the project we have created? I think we have the name of the project is first project. The name of the application, what we have created is first application. Next, once an application is created, you need to do some activities. You need to do some activities. What is the first activity? In settings.py file, you have to mention the application name. In settings.py, you have to mention the application name. Okay, so let's open Atom Editor. Can you see right now we are pointing to settings.py file. In this settings.py file under installed app, we have created our own app. So you have to mention the application name. What's the name of the application? First app. What is the name of the application? First app. We have created. Application is ready. Once an application is created, we have to create a view for our application. Every application should have minimum one view. Step one, we have created project. Step two, we have created application. And inside the application, what we are doing, we are creating a view inside the application. Minimum one view. Okay, now in the application, we are creating a view. There are two types of views in Django. Function-based view and class-based. I am creating a function-based view. We'll discuss about class-based views later. I want to create a function-based view. Okay. How to create a view? Technically, when you're creating a view, every view is technically a function. Every view is nothing but a Python function. In Python, we have learned the concept of functions, right? Okay. So when you're creating a view, technically we are creating a function. Where to create a view? We have to create a view in a file called as views.py file. Very meaningful file in the views.py file. So where is views.py file? So let's open the views.py file. First, let's open the project. We have created a first project. Inside the first project, we have created first application. In the first application, you'll find a called views.py file. So here we have to create a view. Perfect. You need to include this is the default line from Django shortcuts import render is the default line. You need a HTTP response object. So you need a HTTP response object. So I'm importing HTTP response object. We have to include this. And every view is technically a participants. Every view is technically a Python function. Every view is technically a Python function. So what is the name of the function which I am defining? You have to answer this. What is the name of the function? The name of the function which I am creating is display. Every view is technically a function, and the name of the function which I'm creating is display. What this display function, what I'm doing, this function is having 2 lines of code. Participants, this function is having 2 lines of code. Hello students, welcome to Django classes is a string which I'm including under h1, and then I'm returning this particular string as HTTP response object. Okay, I'm giving response to this particular view. Okay, so I have created a project. Inside the project, I have created application. Inside the application, I'm creating a view. Okay, and this view is technically a function. And what my function is responding? My function is responding this particular string, returning this particular string, something like hello students. So welcome to the Django class. This is what the function returns. Okay, perfect. So function creation is successful. Function creation is successful. Okay, important points. Each view will be specified as a function. Each view is specified as a function. Each view is specified as a function. Yes. When I'm saying that I'm creating a view, that means you have to understand that I'm creating a function. In the above example, display is the name of the function. That display function is nothing but the view. Each view will take one argument request. Can you see? The view is taking a request object as an argument. Mandatory. Each view should return HTTP response. Okay, this is mandatory. View should respond HTTP response object. Okay. View creation is completed. How do you access the view? How do you access the view? What's the name of the view? The name of the view is display, right? Name of the view is display. How do you access the view? We access the view using the URL. We access the view using the URL. Okay. Next. We define the URL pattern in the urls.py file. How we have views.py file? Participants, like how we have views.py file, we have one more file called as urls.py file. Where is this urls.py file? The URL pattern will be used by end user to send the request. Okay, so we need to use the urls.py file. So where is the urls.py file? urls.py file, can you see here? This is your application. Okay, this is your project. Inside the project, you will find urls.py. The urls.py file is not at your application, it is at your project level. It is at your project level. This is the default content in the urls.py file. That's okay. There are two import statements. That's fine. You have to import your view. Where is a view? Your view is created in the first app. Are you understanding? From your application, I'm importing view. From your application, you are importing views. So views which you have created, you are importing in the urls.py. And then you have to define URL for the view which we have created here in the urls.pattern. What is the view we have created? Do you remember? What is the view we have created? The view what we have created is display. So that view name, I am linking to the URL greetings. View is linked to a URL greeting. So whenever end user access the greetings URL, this view will be executed. That's why I'm linking the view to the URL. That is possible in the urls.py. Save it. Fetch. That's it. And then access the URL. And then access the URL. Start the activity. Start server and send the request. So right now server is not started. Let me start the server. How do you start the server? We know it. Py manage.py run server. I'm accessing. What am I accessing? I'm accessing not 8,000. I have to access the URL that is greetings, not the default URL. You have to access the greetings URL which you have to. The moment the greetings URL is accessed, the greetings URL is linked to participants. The greetings URL is linked to display. What is display? Display is a view. It goes to the view. So where is the display view? This is the display view. It is receiving, it is giving a HTML, H1 request. Hello students, welcome to check. Clear? Clear about this? Perfect. So this is how connectivity happens. This is how connectivity happens. Participants, quick recap. First step, what did I do? Look at the notes. First step, what I have done, I have created a project. Next, second step, what I have done. Whenever you create a project, there will be 6 applications which we have, which will be default applications in every project. We have observed that. Next, what did we do? We have created application inside the project. We have created application inside. Okay. Once an application, what's the name of the application? First application. Once the application has been created, there will be some set of files which will be created. Next, you have to mention the application in the installed apps in the settings.py. Next, every application will have a view. I have created a view. Creating a view is technically a function. That function should be mapped to URL. Agree? And then the end user will access the URL by using the URL. So view will be generated. That's it. Is it difficult? Looks to be, because you're first time experiencing the simple project. It looks to be difficult, but if you do practice, it is easy. Without practice, it is very, very difficult to move on with Django. But when you practice, I can definitely say that it is easy. Django concept is easy. If you don't practice, you feel difficult. But if you practice, it is literally easy. I hope you are understanding the concept which I'm trying to say. So did we meet our agenda for today's session? Yes, we have learned about Django project. We have learned about how can we start the server? How can we start the server in different port number? We have created an application. We have understood the default project structure. We have used views.py. We have used urls.py. We have sent the request using the urls.py. Please practice this for today's session. See you tomorrow. Anyways, we'll repeat it again tomorrow with much more concepts. Okay. Until then, have a good time. Thank you very much. Have a good time.